Colorado. It is a state that feels like a postcard, snow-capped peaks, winding trails, and ghost towns frozen in time. But if you listen closely, the silence has teeth. Beneath the beauty, something stirs. Something that does not like to be seen. And in some corners of this majestic landscape, people vanish. Not in ways we understand. Not by accident. Not by force. They just disappear. Over the past 40 years, Colorado has become the backdrop for at least 3 disappearances that defy logic, defy physics, and defy explanation. A geologist walks into a cave and never comes out, and the cave itself vanishes. A UFO tracker sets up camp and disappears, leaving behind only a video that chills the soul. And a journalist. He came to uncover the truth and became the next mystery. None of them were ever found. All of them had been warned. None of them listened. So grab your blanket, dim the lights, and lean in close. Because what you are about to hear is not just eerie. It is a marked mystery. Part 1. The journalist who vanished in a ghost town. Let us go back to 1988. Silver Plume, Colorado. If you blink while driving through, you might miss it. Tucked high in the Rocky Mountains, it is a town that seems to have stopped aging sometime around 1890. One paved road, a scattering of weathered buildings, fewer than 200 residents, and an atmosphere so still it feels like the town itself is holding its breath. This is where Keith Reinhard went looking for peace, and never came back. Keith was a 49-year-old sports journalist from the Chicago Daily Herald, a seasoned writer, logical, observant. But somewhere in midlife, he hit pause. He wanted something quieter, something deeper. So he took a sabbatical and headed west to a town with more ghosts than gossip. But Silver Plume was already hiding one secret. Months before Keith arrived, another man had vanished from the same town, Tom Young. Tom was a local, quiet guy who ran a small bookstore. One day, he and his dog vanished without a trace. No sign of a struggle, no note. Just gone. And no one could explain it. Keith, intrigued, moved into the exact same space Tom had lived in. Same building. Same energy. He opened a small antique shop, told people he was writing a novel, but that is not all he did. Bit by bit, Keith became consumed by Tom's disappearance. He started tracing Tom's steps, digging through newspaper archives, talking to locals, hiking the trails alone. And then, things got weird. Neighbors said Keith started acting different. He stopped sleeping, spent hours pacing the mountains, started talking to himself. Some said it was just writer's brain. Too many ideas, too much isolation. Others were not so sure. It is like he was not writing a story about Tom Young anymore. It is like he was writing as Tom Young. On August 7th, 1988, Keith closed up his shop at around 4:00 p.m. He did not bring a jacket, even though the mountain air gets cold fast. He did not pack food, water, or supplies. No map. Just a pen and a small notepad in his back pocket. Before he left, he said something chilling to a friend. Gone to the mountain. Don't look for me. That was the last anyone saw of Keith Reinhard. 6 days later, a search helicopter spotted a figure standing perfectly still on a narrow mountain ridge. A rescue team was dispatched. They reached the ridge. There was nothing there. No footprints. No dropped gear. Just wind. Weeks later, a strange discovery was made. Inside the antique shop, Keith had run locked, untouched. Someone found a cassette tape. No sign of forced entry. Just the tape, sitting on a table, as if placed there deliberately. It contained an interview Keith had recorded with a local man about Tom Young, but something was off. The questions on the tape, they were not written in any of Keith's notebooks or story drafts. It was as if the conversation had come out of nowhere, improvised, eerie, detached from his known plans. And then, near the end of the recording, a sound, a low, steady whisper. Breathing, but not Keith's. Like someone was standing just off mic, someone listening, someone else in the room. The official report ruled Keith's case a voluntary disappearance, but his family did not believe it. His friends did not believe it. Even the locals were not convinced. Keith left behind pages, drafts, outlines, research. And in one of the last entries he wrote, "Some stories do not want to be told. They protect themselves. And sometimes they win." Was that just fiction or a warning? Today, Silver Plume is still there, still quiet. Tourists pass through. Some take photos. Others hike the same trails Keith once wandered, but on cold, still nights, when the wind dies down and the stars come out. Some locals say you can hear footsteps near the edge of town. Just footsteps. No voice. No shadow. Just someone, still trying to finish a story that did not want to be finished. Now you might think this is just a one-off. A tragic story of a man who lost himself in the mystery he was trying to solve. But this is only the beginning, because just a few hours south of Silver Plume, someone else would vanish. Someone who was not chasing a mystery of the past, but chasing something far stranger. Something above, and this time, the sky was watching back. Revolving Light Part 2, The UFO Hunter Who Never Came Back. Colorado is a land of towering peaks and haunted towns, but as you travel south, the mountains give way to something stranger, an open desert where the laws of reality start to feel. Optional, welcome to the San Luis Valley. This 120-mile stretch of land, bordered by mountains and cut by silence, is infamous not for what is on the ground, but for what is in the sky. Locals call them lights. Some say they are military craft. Others whisper about alien visitors. But what is certain is this: these lights do not behave like anything we have built. And sometimes, they chase you back. Tim Goodwin was not a conspiracy theorist. He was not some basement YouTuber or tinfoil hat collector. He was a military man. After retiring from the Air Force in the late 1990s, Tim shifted his focus from war zones to weather maps. He developed a fascination with aerial anomalies, things that did not belong in the sky. At first, it was casual, a hobby. He tracked satellite feeds, analyzed flight paths, cross-referenced radar blips, but it did not stay casual. He began to see patterns, repeating phenomena clustered around one specific place, the San Luis Valley. Night after night, lights appeared that were not logged by NORAD. Bright objects moved at impossible angles, with no sonic booms, no heat signatures. Tim believed something was out there, something intelligent, so he went to find it. August 2002. Tim loaded his SUV with everything he would need: tracking equipment, solar panels, shortwave radios, cameras, backup batteries, food, water. He was not reckless. He planned to check in every 12 hours with a friend in Denver, and for the first 3 days he did, until he did not. On the evening of August 17th, Tim made one last radio transmission. It was brief, calm, but deeply unsettling. They are on the ridge. 3 of them, not aircraft. No sound. It is watching me now. Then static. That was the last anyone ever heard from Tim Goodwin. Within 36 hours, search teams were dispatched. What they found was unnerving. His SUV was right where he had parked it. Solar panels deployed. Laptop still running. Tent zipped shut but empty. Inside the tent, Tim's boots. His flashlight. His satellite phone. His water. It looked like he had undressed for sleep and then vanished into thin air. Everything was in order. Everything. Except Tim. 200 yards from the tent, a GoPro was mounted on a tripod, still recording. The footage has never been officially released, but the investigators who saw it, what they described, chills the spine. The final 3 minutes of the tape begin with darkness. Total, complete black, then a vertical beam of white light sweeps across the desert floor. Slow. Silent. As if searching. Then, a shape enters the frame. It is not a man. It is not a machine. It is tall. Roughly 7 feet. Thin limbs, moving wrong, too slow, too precise. It walks behind the camera. Then a voice. Barely audible. Can you see me? And finally, Tim appears. He is not running. He is not hiding. He is just standing, staring into the lens, eyes wide, frozen. Then the battery dies. When the team reviewed the campsite, they noticed something even stranger than the tape. There were no footprints, not even Tim's, no drag marks, no tire tracks, no sign of animals, nothing. It was like the man had simply evaporated. Tim's disappearance was not the first in the San Luis Valley, and it would not be the last. The region has a long, dark history of strange vanishings. Ranchers, travelers, entire herds of cattle gone overnight, and always the same signature, everything left behind, untouched. Vehicles parked, tents zipped, meals uneaten, but no people. In every case, the person is gone and the sky remains silent. Officially, Tim's case is still labeled missing cause unknown. Unofficially, well, that footage, the one from the GoPro, it is said to still circulate. Private forums, dark corners of the internet. You won't find it on YouTube, but if you know where to look, copies exist. And in every version, Tim's expression never changes. He does not look terrified. He does not look injured. He just looks empty, like something reached in and turned off the lights from the inside. A man who chased lights in the sky and maybe found something that was already chasing him. By now, we have heard two stories, two men, two disappearances, one in a haunted town, one in a haunted sky, both gone without a trace, both obsessed with a mystery, and both leaving behind a single question: what are we not seeing? But the strangest case of all, it did not happen in a town. It did not happen under the stars. It happened underground, in a place that may not even exist anymore. And the only witness to what happened is a tape recorder that would not stop running. Part 3. The man who went into the cave and never came out. If ghost towns whisper, and the skies of Colorado watch you, then deep beneath your feet, that is where the real silence lives. Caves, they are ancient, dark, almost alive. They breathe with shifting air. They devour sound. And sometimes they devour people too. Our final story brings us to one of the strangest disappearances on record. It is not just that the man vanished. It is that what he described before he vanished does not seem to exist anymore. Mel Ninninger was not the kind of man to get lost in the woods. He was 42, a soft-spoken former geology teacher from Cortez, Colorado. He was not flashy. He was not reckless, but he had spent most of his adult life exploring underground spaces, lava tubes, abandoned mines, sandstone canyons. He respected the terrain, but there was one cave that haunted him. He said he found it once in the 1970s while hiking alone near Mesa Verde. It did not appear on any geological maps. He called it wrong. It was carved deep into a smooth stone wall, narrow, unnatural. He did not go far inside, but the experience unsettled him. He later told a friend, "I could not hear myself breathe. There was no echo. Like the air just ate the sound." He left the cave that day, but he never really left it behind. On October 2nd, 1987, Mel decided to go back. He left a note for his neighbor: "Gone hiking. 2 days max. If I am not back, check the ridge." That ridge was near where he believed the strange cave had once been. Mel brought minimal supplies, but he did bring one piece of equipment that would later become the center of everything: a handheld cassette recorder. He left it just inside the entrance to the cave. 4 days later, the search began. When rescuers found Mel's truck, it was parked neatly near the ridge. No sign of distress, no signs of struggle. But Mel, gone. More importantly, the cave, also gone. The area he marked did not contain any entrance, no opening, no recent rockfall, just smooth cliff faces and scrub brush. But the recorder, still running, what was on the tape changed everything. The first hour is uneventful. Mel narrates calmly, describing rock layers, temperature shifts, cave features. Then, something changes. His voice drops to a whisper. I can't hear my own feet. I think I have gone too far. It is not a cave. It is hollow. A few minutes later, a sound begins. Metallic clicking. Rhythmic. Not mechanical. Not natural. Like something communicating in a pattern, Mel's breathing quickens. Then, over and over, he repeats, "Don't forget your name. Don't forget your name. Don't forget your name." Then static. The final 5 minutes of the tape. Pure silence. Not even the background hiss of recording tape. Just nothing. Audio engineers were brought in to examine the recording. There were no glitches. No signs of tampering. No indication the sounds were added later. The tape was real. So were Mel's words. But the cave, it never showed up again. The landscape did not match Mel's notes. The area had no evidence of recent erosion or collapse. It is as if the place had simply closed. Mel's case should have ended there. Just another missing hiker. End of story. But it did not, because over the next 2 decades, a handful of other hikers vanished in the same region. Not frequently. But when they did, the pattern was eerily similar. GPS devices stopped working. Phones and emergency beacons failed. And in one case, a voicemail was left with nothing but clicking sounds. Same rhythm. Same metallic pattern. Same echo from Mel's tape. Some geologists suggested it might be a natural anomaly, an underground void, a collapsed lava tube, or an acoustic trap where air pockets create strange sound effects. But others are not convinced, because the deeper you go into stories like these, the more they start to echo one another. One man vanishes into a ghost town and leaves behind whispers. Another walks into the desert and leaves behind a silent video. A third descends into a cave and leaves behind a voice unraveling into static. All 3 places seem to erase the one thing that should never disappear: evidence. Let us zoom out. Silver Plume, San Luis Valley, Mesa Verde, each site remote. Each disappearance unique, yet eerily connected. All 3 victims were intelligent, logical, and methodical. All 3 were chasing something: truth, answers, or a mystery. And all 3 left behind a message. A tape. A recording. A final moment frozen in time. It is as if the places themselves knew how to wipe footprints. But not voices. That is what makes these stories so unnerving. Some mysteries leave behind clues. Others leave behind warnings. People always say, there is nothing out there. But what if that is not true? What if there is something, and it just does not want to be seen? What if it watches those who ask too many questions? What if it waits in places just like Silver Plumes? Or San Luis Valley? Or a cave you can't find twice? And what if the real reason these people vanished is because they got too close to something that does not want to be found? If you made it this far, I have got a question for you. Which of these real-life disappearances disturbed you the most? Was it the journalist and his eerie tape? The GoPro footage of the figure in the desert? Or the cave that did not echo? Drop your theories in the comments and tell us, what state should we explore next? Because every place has its secrets, but only a few carry a marked mystery.